Did you know?
History books for life. History books for life.
And
Africa is not our home. Oh, while I dare fact. Africa is not our home.
because
The Indians were you. The Indians were you. The Indians were you.
that's why.
Finds himself in exile in his own land. His own land.
So,
You just want to claim a spot for the whole thing.
because
We were always here. We were always here. We were always here. We were always here. Welcome to the Aboriginal channel. On this episode, we're going to be looking at what the Europeans call giant Indians. Right here, we're looking at an old tobacco ad that says Captain Smith, the first Englishman who went ashore in Virginia, taking the king of the Powhatans prisoner. So this is supposed to be a depiction of King Powhatan. In his 1906 work, Lives of Famous Chiefs, Norman Wood described Powhatan based on English reports. He was said to be a tall, well-proportioned man with a sour look, his head somewhat gray, his beard so thin that it seemeth none at all, his age near 60, of a very able and hardy body to endure any labor. And this is from the book The History of Alabama, and incidentally that of Georgia and Mississippi from the earliest period, by Albert J. Pickett in 1851. When he's describing an incident where King Tuscaloosa and De Soto, the conquistador, meet up. It says, reposing at this town the space of 2 days, preparations were made to advance. An officer was sent among the horses to find one large enough to sustain the giant Indian. A large pack horse, the property of the governor, was selected. Apparelled in a rich suit of scarlet and a cap of the same given to him by De Soto, the chieftain, who was a head taller than any of his attendants, mounted upon his horse, with his feet nearly trailing on the ground. In 2001, in an article put out by Ohio State University, it says, standing tall, Plains Indians enjoyed height and a health advantage. It says Columbus, Ohio, Eskimo Indian tribes on the American plains in the late 1800s were the tallest people in the world, suggesting that they were surprisingly well nourished given disease and their lifestyle. A new study found. So on this one, the truth comes out, right? They said they died off from smallpox and diseases, but right here a new study found that they were well nourished. Here I found the Cocopa Indian tribe who occupy lands along the Colorado River. Diaries and journals kept by travelers along the Colorado River and migrants into the West documented the Cocopa people. Spanish explorer Hernando de Alarcon, a member of the Colorado's Marine Expedition, traveled the river in 1540 and described the members of the Cocopa Indian tribe as tall, well-built people who carried wooden maces and bows and arrows. On a side note, these are wooden maces. They look sort of like baseball bats or clubs, which that'll come up later on, so I thought I'd put emphasis on it. Here I found an ad of giants in West Virginia. It says, in 1882, amateur archaeologist F.M. Fetty and his wife were exploring an unusual rock formation along White Day Creek in Marion County when they found what appeared to be a shelter. On closer examination, they discovered that a false wall had been erected, and after removing several large stones, they found a very large ancient mummy sitting in a chair. Pause. Now remember, from what Samuel G. Morton said it the American Indians apart from every other land and people based upon how they buried their dead in a sitting position. So here these people in 1882 found a large ancient mummy sitting in a chair. It says the giant was surrounded by stone and flint artifacts. Stone and flint artifacts, those will come up later on in future videos. In the summer of 1883, James A. Faulkner unearthed an unusually large human skeleton in the same area. Dr. Samuel Kramer of Smithtown was called in and measured this skeleton, which was found to be 7 feet 4 inches long. It's been said that Chief Powhatan or King Powhatan was over 7 feet, and also King Tuscaloosa down in Alabama was also over 7 feet. That's the guy whose feet almost drug the ground when he was on the horse. After all that, here I found an article that says they unearthed a giant with horns. Petrified body found by Tennessee miners is 6 feet 4 inches long. So a giant back then was 6 feet 4. Through the history books, which has all been a lie. So therefore, if it's a lie, then what's the truth? If it's a lie, then what's the truth?